Hey everyone's Classic DM, and today we're going to continue some of our fast speed map drawing episodes for our Rise of Aya's campaign that we're starting up pretty soon. So let's just go ahead and dig right into it. As you may remember from our previous episode, we did a map for the village of Hommlet, which we started off with the very original map, which I have a printed version of here mounted on a laminated poster board. And we took the original map, which is from what most people have played from, I don't know, it came out in 1978, something like that. We did an overlay of this to draw what this place looked like 45 years before all that. So years before things went down in the village of Hommlet, when you probably played it or when I played it, we did this interpretation of the map on architectural tracing paper here. And you can watch that episode and check it out and see what you like. So what we're going to do today is we're going to focus on one of the most important key buildings, which has remained the same throughout all these years, is the inn of the Welcome Wench, which is this building right here. Okay, so those of you who have played this module before have probably seen these really cool little quasi-isometric maps that have the first floor and the cellar and the upper floor. We're actually going to draw these in our technique, which is we'll use a 1-inch grid with a piece of tracing paper, and we'll do each floor individually as a battle map, because we use a system where we lay a big piece of plexiglass, which kind of looks like this, right? Big piece of plexiglass on top of our battle maps, and then we actually draw whatever's happening, or spells, or templates, and monkey business, and do diagrams, and it allows us to draw directly on top of the plexiglass while actually killing our cool battle map. And we don't play the game online, so we need our own battle maps to be right there in living color. So that's what we're going to do today. So the first thing we need to do is get our drawing board down, and I'm going to do the drawing speed map stuff accelerated. So I'm going to record it in real time, and then I'm going to do it at an accelerated rate, so you don't need to watch me and listen to me talk for an hour. But the good part is you'll be able to see how do I go about actually doing it during the setup phase. So this first phase is I use a piece of dry erase marker board. Oddly enough, the funny thing is I don't use the dry erase marker board for dry erase marking. It's just such an inexpensive piece of material that's white. That's the only reason why I like to use it. I've taken it, and I don't know, 2 years ago I have glued it to a thick piece of foam core. So you have this big black piece of foam core, which costs like nothing at Hobby Lobby, and I manually drew my grid on here. And that was pretty straightforward by just, measuring a series of tick marks. If you look here, you can see the tick marks, right? Tick marks, take a straight edge, draw a permanent line. You never mark on this ever. What you're really marking on is the overlay, which is a cheap piece of plexiglass you get cut at Home Depot or Lowe's with some cabinet stops. That way, and I can have as many of these boards as I want on a table. So a 4x8 table, I could have the entire village laid out, which one day I'd like to do, but my camera won't film it right now. So what we're going to do is we need to create the battle map that goes on top of this, which we do on architectural tracing paper, which is like this. Here's a packet that's unopened. This is the Bean Fang, 20 by 18 inch, because this is an 18 by 24 board that we're using. So we're going to go ahead and get started on that, and I'm going to walk you through that in the beginning. And once we get into the actual speed drawing stuff, I'll kill the mic, record me drawing it, speed it up in post-processing, and then come back to you and talk to you at the end about how we do it. Now, when you buy one of these pieces of paper, one of the worst things about it is it's always got this clear cellophane, stupid Scotch tape, which ruins like the first 6 inches of the paper. It's really annoying. You got to get that off of there. As you can see, this is like, yes, let's make sure we make a piece of paper that you can't use. So it's totally annoying. Totally, absolutely annoying. And what I'm going to do, because this stuff's so disposable, I'm actually going to tear that away by just getting this all out of the way here. So it's okay, because there's tons of stuff. There's 20 yards of it. So go all the way across. That's 60 some odd feet just to get this piece off. There, that's done. Because what we do is when you cut this paper, you don't use scissors or an X-Acto knife or a self-healing cutting board. You use an architectural scale like this. Turn it over so that it's rolling out in front of you, right? And then what you do is you roll it out and you tear off however much you need. So what I'm going to do real quickly here, I'm just going to turn this the other way. It won't look good on camera, but it's going to be easier for me to roll it out, and I'll show you how I cut it off. So the first thing I want to do, I'm just going to put this like this, is I want to kind of line the top and the bottom edges like this. And I don't ever use the full extent of the full board, but one thing I want to do right off the bat here is I want to get this part that I boogered up by cutting it cut off. So what I do is I'll just lay this down like this right on one of the grid lines, and I just tear it, which sounds horrible, but it's just the fast in architecture office. That's what we do. Well, we used to do. God knows what they do nowadays with AutoCAD. Going to get this excess piece. Don't need it. So we can just lay this out like this. And I'm going to go ahead and give myself a piece to about here. It should be enough for this in. Now, if you haven't seen this in, it's probably one of the most classic first level adventures ever in Advanced Dungeons & Dragons. I mean, who hasn't played this thing? If you haven't played it, you're really missing out. If you're playing it in your 5th edition group, that's fine. I'm going to tape it down this way, and I'm going to turn it the other way. Oh, the only thing that could possibly go wrong here, which I haven't planned in advance, is the length of the space. So before I tape this down, let's just double check. I think it was like 70 some odd feet. So in this original map, these distances are a little wonky. The old days, these grid numbers these were all like 10 feet. So each one of these little lines here is really like 10 feet, right? So it's 10 feet. So we need to figure out how the full length of the full building is going to be. So just quickly taking a look at it, we got from here to here, and then we got this extra little piece down here. So what do we actually have here? So this is like 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90, plus another 5. So this is like 95 feet. Then you got, what, another 5, 10, 20, and 2 5s in the end. So this is 30 feet, 30 feet, 90 feet, 125 feet long. So what's 125 feet divided by 5? Who knows the answer? 25. Ooh, that's going to be tricky. So this in would be longer than our piece of paper because we have 24 1-inch squares. So what we could do is we could cheat a little bit. We could kill 5 feet off the end here and 5 feet off the end here. No one would ever really know the difference. So I think what we're going to do, technically I really should buy the book, really make it that long, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to do this. I'm going to steal some space right through probably this back room. I think what I'll do is I'll take this back room here and I'm going to kill a little bit of space for it because I don't have a 24 by 36 huge table to work with. I got an 18 by 24 area. So I've only got, let me see, 24 times 5 feet. I got 120 feet. So this is 120 feet for me to work with. So since I only have 120 feet, this thing's 130 feet long. I'm kind of at a disadvantage. I'm 125 feet long. I'm off by 5 feet. And plus I got the paper kind of torn just a little bit off. So I'm going to cheat it a little bit. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to kill 10 feet off this end of the building. I'm going to make this only 20 feet deep and cram everything in. There's artistic license here. So let's go ahead and return this back the way that you can see it. And then I'll tape it down. And this is just, you're a dungeon master. You got to figure out how you're going to make it work. So the next thing we need to do is get some more crappy tape here and get this thing taped down. So this is a pretty big inn. And once we draw on the first floor, we'll do the first floor first. Then we could just trace over it for the second floor and the basement and all that kind of business, or cellar, whatever you want to call it. So I'm just going to tape this down here. And when you're taping the stuff down, you kind of want to make sure it's no air underneath it as much as you can do, as much as you can handle. And I'm going to take a little piece here. See if we can get this to about here. Because pretty soon we're going to do this in speed drawing mode. And we're not tracing anything underneath here, so we don't really need... This is loosely taped down. And just to be absolutely sure, we're also not screwing ourselves over. How about the height of this thing? So what do we got here? So you've got, then we're talking about this dimension here, right? How far is this? So we got 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60. Let's just say this is 60 feet. So that's probably going to be like, what, 12? So we got 18 here, so we should have plenty of moves. So we probably should center it. So a good thing to do right off the bat, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So this is going to be 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. So this is 9. So this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. We're going to call this the center line of our inn. And we're going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. Actually, the 12 mark is going to be here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So the very center of this board is kind of lined up with the camera, actually. It's this little area here. So we kind of want that to happen Let's start our N in the center and move out from it, and we'll cheat this end. So we're going to draw it the same orientation with north being top. This N is technically turned at a funky angle. If you remember the, whoops, sorry about that. If you remember the original map, which I've still got right here, the end's kind of cocked at an angle. So north is really this way, but just for the purposes of drawing the map, we're going to draw it all squared off like this. We're not drawing the stable or anything. And we're going to take our dimensional artistic license out of the, excuse me, out of this crappy building, that this part here, Area 5, which is like a kitchen or some crap. Nothing of importance there at all. So this is the center point of the whole thing, and we've got 60 feet. So we got 10, 20, 30, 10, 20, 30. Okay, so here's our map in all its finished form. I think it took us maybe like 1 hour, kind of half doing it, kind of starting and stopping and what have you. So we had to make a few artistic slash architectural changes from the original. And I'll just go through this real quickly so you know, so I don't have a bunch of Nazis give me a hard time. So because my board is only 24 inches deep and the width of the entire in is much greater than that. It's 120, 125 feet wide total. It means I don't quite have enough room to do it, so I decided to shift this part of the inn, which is the kitchen, to make it a little bit more compressed and actually still function as a galley kitchen. So if you look over in this area here, we've got a set of stairs that go up and the stairs that go down to the cellar. So this is the bar area, and here's the major column, so right down the middle. This is the front door. You got some hitching posts out front to put some horses. We decided to do large double windows right across this front facade here. 1, 2, 3, 4. Those kind of give a nice rhythm of the space. Also, that kind of works with the layout of the structure of this heavy timber style construction, old, the inn of the Welcome Wench type inn. And we've kept some of the some of the basic ideas of their when you walk in the front door, you've got like a round table where a lot of people can sit at. We'll put some miniatures on the table in a minute, let you see how big they are. The double keg thing, the little wraparound kind of L-shaped bar. We made this kind of like a little private office slash cooking oven with a little hearth going on here. We decided to ditch the table. So basically what we've done, we've compressed this just a touch. Not too bad. We've kept the main rooms the same size because that's probably where any kind of gameplay, killing, murder, or destruction is going to happen. We kept the tables kind of turned the same way, rotated this way, centered on the window. Big table this way. We decided to turn it. I decided to turn it this way to kind of create a path where someone can walk through to this door. So you have this little private chamber here. They didn't really have much furniture in this room, so I just threw a couple more tables in here with this fireplace kind of jammed in a corner. In reality, you wouldn't really build it that way, but it doesn't really matter. We're not doing an architectural building. We're doing a role-playing game. We put a little halfling side table here for a laugh, because we have a halfling in our party, a large big table and lots of buffet and hutch type furniture here. Some pictures on the wall. We've got some oil lanterns that are hung on the post to illuminate things, so the lights can all radiate out like this off of every single one of these hutches. The big, mega huge fireplace right here, the hearth right in front of the hearth. People might mill about and stand around or whatever. So it's a pretty cool layout. I love it. We'll probably do the the cellar is kind of boring. But we'll probably do the cellar, and we're going to need the cellar. We're going to need the upstairs eventually. I may or may not do a video drawing those. I don't know. It depends if you like the stuff. If you like this kind of stuff, let me know. If you don't, that's fine. The reason why we do it this way is, as I've mentioned many times before, is when I'm making these videos of trying to tell the whole story and have things come alive for you, I'm drawing on top of my map, and I don't want to ruin my cool map, so I've got a piece of plexiglass on top of this. So another thing I like to do, let's just say for example, I have a little small camera like this that I can put on the screen, and I can pull up another little detail camera. So say, we've got this table happening right here, and you have your adventure sitting at the table, or there's a big melee situation where characters are talking or whatever. So let's just put some of our characters in here. So we have our little monk character, and our little gnome assassin, our little dwarf fighter, and our druid, and our elf magic user, and our cleric hero here. So we can have a little close-up of them. We can resize that camera as need to for doing some kind of story element. If we want to make it kind of feel like a cutscene or something, we can bring that camera view a little closer and refocus it, make the details different. And just to give you a quick example of how I like to do that. My goal with these videos is really to kind of make the adventure come alive for someone who wishes they could play but doesn't really get a chance to play as much. So you can do things like change the focus on the characters or who the focus is on, or it's on the middle of the table or someone really close. So that kind of stuff's kind of fun. I like doing that. I think it's really neat. But having this battle map below here, it gives me a chance to do things like, well, the characters are all sitting around this table and they've got a big map rolled out of Valuna and Furiandi, and they've got Flagons of Ale, and they're talking, and I'm not going to role play the characters, but you can have a situation like that happens. Of course, another thing that's really great is if things are really nasty, if you have a combat situation, it's always really great. Let's say we have a couple of ruffians are in here, and they're on this side of the table, and your character's on this side of the table, and you have a combat fight. Well, if someone tries to duck under the table or move around to the side, I can get a sense of, is there enough room for them to even move there? If this guy went to engage combat with a cleric and the cleric met him halfway and he engaged the monk, our little assassin dude might zip under the table and maybe move down here and try to hide in shadows and come back behind and backstab this guy. So it gives us a chance to kind of lay out the gameplay. At the same time, we can do things like mark on the map without having to ruin our cool map. So any adventure can happen, and we just change the adventure over time to be, whatever happens, happens. We don't know what's going to happen half the time. So that's a really fun thing to do as well. Now, I got another video plan that's going to go through the backstory of all our heroic characters. Recently, I did kind of an experiment. I'm not a real hardcore, skillful miniature painter, but it'll go through the main 6 characters we have, which is this group right here. And we've got a bunch of enemies that we've kind of created from some extra miniatures we've had laying around. They're going to focus, they're going to act as the people occupying Hommlet. So we've got a ton of those made. They're all kind of based for exterior gameplay. They're going to be kind of under the fire node of the elemental evil, Zugamotoy, we're going to call it. And I've got some other key hero type characters as well. And of course, we rebased our original 7 from the Glacier Rift, the Frost Giant Jarl, and Fire Giant King. That was a really fun experiment for me. I'm not a real good miniature painter, but it's better than the tokens, so that'll be fun. So I hope you enjoyed checking out this video. If you have any questions or comments on how I do the maps or the techniques or in the details, I've done a lot of these in the last 2 years, and a lot of times when in the videos I've done before, they aren't accelerated, and I'm explaining why I'm doing what I'm doing along the way. So if you don't have the patience to watch all that, you just want to ask me a quick little question like, how did you do this? You know, what did you decide to do with this? How are you doing these drop shadows? How are you figure out the window locations? Some architectural stuff about map drawing. Let me know. I'll be happy to help you. And we're going to leave it at that, and hope you had fun doing it. Oh, one last quick thing I want to mention, you may have seen this in some of the episodes I've done before, is one of the things that's really great, and if you're playing and you have an assassin character, let's say there was a combat sequence where we got this crossbow girl over here, 2 crossbow girls over here, and we got a baddie charging forward, and our group is, we got our druid in the front and our monk in the front, and our little assassin guy wants to hide in shadows. It's because we've got the light sources on here, we can actually you know, that can be part of the gameplay. Like the assassin character, say this is, you know, at 2 o'clock in the morning or something, all these light sources may be snuffed out. He might spend a melee round snuffing out these lanterns here to create darkness over in this area so he can hide in shadows and maybe zip around this way. You know, knowing where the light is and my house rules makes a big difference. You're not going to hide in shadows and move silently in broad daylight. So you're not going to be able to do that inside a light sphere like this at all. It's not stealth, it's not invisibility, it's you're hiding in shadows, so you need shadows to do that. So that's one good thing about this marker board technique that I like to use, besides the fact that it's really small and films pretty good, is it gives us a way to handle the gameplay on top of the with dry erase markers without it being some expensive printed battle map. I mean, I made this battle map basically for free, and yeah, it's chicken scratchy, but it works and it makes it kind of fun. So yeah, that's pretty much our end of the Welcome Wench. Hope you have fun watching the video, and if you have any questions or comments about any of this stuff, let me know. I'm going to systematically draw all the maps for the entire town, and if you haven't seen that other video, you might want to check it out, because we have redrawn the entire village of Hommlet. It's kind of like what it was before, what it is now. This is what it was before. What most people are used to seeing is what does it look like now, which looks like this, right? So we did another video. You might want to check it out. This is what the original Hommlet map looked like, and this is what it looked like way before everything got kind of crazy. So some of the buildings aren't even there. There's no, you know, Church of St. Cuthbert, you know, some comments about we decided to remove this whole area here. There's a number of the houses that aren't even built, like this jewelry money changer and this town hall, and those things aren't even there. So we're going to do the individual maps for every single one of these buildings, anticipating this being an occupied zone, kind of like Vichy France, and the players may end up having to infiltrate some of these houses and rescue people or steal plans, kind of a World War II kind of vibe. But anyway, we'll leave it at that. Hope you had fun watching this video, map drawing. It's really fun, and D&D is an awesome, cool hobby, and hope you have fun with it. We'll talk to you later. See ya.